All right, welcome back to Old Plastic. Today I have something pretty cool. A buddy of mine has a 3D printer and he generated these weapons racks for my leftover Luke Skywalker lightsabers. I think they came out pretty cool. I just gave him a couple of lightsabers and told him I needed to display 40 to 50 lightsabers, and he came up with this. Um, yeah, I have so many extra lightsabers. In my last video, I did the final reorganization video or the wrap up video of my display of Luke Skywalkers. Now, if you go back to that video, you'll notice that they all have intact lightsabers, except for three. And you know what? I'm going to overlay a photograph and circle the three that don't have intact lightsabers. One of them was the one that was just an example of a smile that was had UV damage, and the other two were glass lights. And getting lightsabers for them is time consuming and expensive. So anyways, those are the only three that don't have intact lightsabers. And it took me a long time to track down enough lightsabers to get a full, to have my whole display of Luke's with intact lightsaber tips. So what you see in front of you is an aftermath of that process. Basically, all of these lightsabers have no tips except for the bottom two on the center rack. Both of those have tips. The bottom one is the translucent lightsaber that I was lucky enough to get in a figure. It's a version 1 translucent. It's a very rare lightsaber. The one above that, the second one from the bottom on the center rack, is the Taiwan, which is relatively easy to get, and I had that as an extra. Now, I don't want to get rid of these lightsabers just because they're missing the tip. I may have a figure that I want to display with one of them in the future. So I thought I would keep them, and I didn't want to keep them in a box. So I asked my buddy to create these weapons racks so that I could display them in kind of a cool fashion, and I think it came out pretty cool. There's 5 versions of the lightsaber, 6 if you include the 2 versions of version 1, the translucent and the non-translucent. So, I mean, a person could technically have a 5 lightsaber display with or 5 or 6 lightsaber display with the different types of them. And then there's the DT. There's 2 main versions of that, the circle variant and the normal. Some people try and collect the different letters on the lightsabers. And I have an example of that. I mean, a lot of these have letters on them. Let's see if I can get this so you can see it. This one looks like it says JJ. Yeah, JJ. So a lot of these lightsabers have letters on them. But to me, that is not very significant at all. The reason that is, we know what letters come on lightsabers. The letters that come on lightsabers are A through Z and AA through ZZ. And that was just to represent the mold that it was produced in, so that they could keep track of them and clean them. And to me, that's not a huge thing. Now, the Taiwans have that round circle on them, the MP mark. There are some lightsabers that have dots. A lot of that has been proven to be short-shotted in the mold. The letter didn't fully form. You have lightsabers that don't have any markings at all. Some of them, like I said, will have a letter and a dot. Usually it's supposed to be a double letter, and the other letter didn't form, so it just made a dot. Let's see. Yeah, so to me it isn't a big deal to try and collect all the different letters, because we already know what letters are out there or what possibilities they could come with, and one isn't rarer than the other one. I saw on the internet somebody had a combination lettered one. I think it was BP, but that is going to be where the second B did not form, where it was actually supposed to be a BB, which would be a known variant. Other than that, let's see. Okay, so there's 5 versions of the Luke Skywalker lightsaber, and 2 versions of the double telescoping lightsaber. And then, there's the A through Z letters, and there's the AA through ZZ letters. So we already know, and then there's the translucent and the standard. Oh, and yeah, on the versions they have a version for the glass light on there. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to try to collect any particular run of letters and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense. One isn't more rare than the other. But needless to say, I thought that displaying the lightsabers rather than putting them in a box was a very cool idea, and I love the way it turned out. So I'm going to add this to the top shelf of my Luke Skywalker collection, and as I get more, I'll add them to the racks and kind of make like a background or a back wall of lightsabers. And I thought that was pretty cool. Also, I just recently decided to get into collecting, this is just kind of an update, collecting episode 1 figures. I love the movies episode 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars. So I've made a decision that I'm gonna get a full run of each of those episodes' first release of carded figures. And rather than try and mess around collecting one carded figure at a time, I purchased a large collection of 44 carded figures, different carded figures from episode 1. I figured I'd buy somebody's collection rather than messing around with the purchasing of 1 at a time or 2 at a time. Now, there are a few card backs in this collection of 44 that I bought that I need to replace, but it's a good starting point, and I thought it was the most economical way to get into collecting episode 1. And I'm gonna post a picture here of the carded figures that I got, and I will be going into more detail once I learn a little bit more about episode 1 figures. Like I said, I now have 44, but I think there was somewhere around like 50 carded figures or something like that released. I really don't know much about it yet. I know that there was a couple of figures that you could only get in a box too. I think like Saboba or something like that. I need to do more research on it, and I'll be putting out a more complete video on episode 1 figures, and we'll go through them and decide which ones I need to replace and which ones I need to acquire yet. So I also have a video in the works of my R2-D2s, and that was supposed to be this video, but since I had these lightsabers already set up on the stand in my photo booth, I kind of opted to create this video first. But don't worry, my R2 video is coming up. And to show you, here's my latest R2 that I just got, which is a POC R2D2. That's just a quick teaser, but yeah, stay tuned, and I hope you guys had a great Easter weekend. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.